weighing me down, and I've been messing around. Where have you been? Come back to Carolina. East Coast just ain't the same. Doors closed, changed its name. Where will it go? Maybe to Oklahoma. Darling, cinder block eyes, you put me in a coma. Kids got nothing to lose, and I've got nothing to care for except myself and my dust-covered shoes. Seaside, you're making me sick. The clock's on what's making you tick. I'll tell you what it is. Today you just have to live.
We all love him. He loves all of you. Cliff Cash!
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all gonna make me cry. I might cry if I wasn't an alpha male. You know what I mean? But feelings are for liberals. So look here. Hey, y'all, I'm serious. I'm touched. I really am. I am touched like the unlucky victim of a century-old Catholic cover-up. You know what I mean? I hope you're groaning at the story and not the joke. 'Cause if you hated that joke, it's gonna be a long night. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. Sometimes I like to start my sets off with a prayer. If everybody would please bow your heads, just take the person's hand beside you. First, I want to ask, Lord, that you would just protect our real president, Donnie John Trump. That you would put a Jesus force field on him and just protect him from the 91 felony indictments that he did not do. He did not do any of that. The entire justice system is the deep state. Totally innocent. All judges are liberal operatives. I want to thank you for Donnie John. I pray that you help people to quit messing with him and saying that he cheated on his third wife while she was pregnant with his fifth child with a porn star, and then he used legal campaign funds to pay her hush money against the law. Lord, we weren't there. We don't know what happened. He could have been witnessing to her, and he dropped his Bible, and then he fell into her hoo-ha. You don't know. Lord, I want to thank you that Lauren Boebert was finally able to reach across the aisle to give that dude a hand job during a family performance of an American classic. I want to thank you for the Party of Family Values and their leaders like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who recently slept with her CrossFit coach and a sex guru, whatever that means. Lord, I want to thank you from my home state of North Carolina and my North Carolina legislature, that they are able to stay laser focused on what is truly important. They're not distracted by little nuances like being last in teacher pay or 42nd in education. No, sir. They're not sidetracked by trivial details like crumbling roads, bridges, or infrastructure. They're able to zero in on what is your will, Lord, which is making sure which potty people go TT and poo-poo in. Amen. Look here, I mentioned in North Carolina bathroom bill, HBPV, and look here. I want to be clear about something. I love everybody, okay? I think we all ought to love everybody, even if we're different, especially if we're different. We ought to show each other love and kindness, okay? Yeah. If you didn't cheer, you're a homophobic racist. And look here. I don't think we need a bathroom bill, okay? I don't care what kind of wee-wee you got. Just get in there, poop, and wash your hands. That's it. We don't need legislation for that. You know what I mean? If we're going to legislate some part of the bathroom process, how about we legislate the hand washing? You know what I mean? How about some kind of legal guarantee that I'm not going to get fecal matter on my hands when I go for a salutation? I want to lobby against the shit shake. You know what I'm saying? It's dangerous. Or how about legislation that puts a privacy wall between me and this fella I'm pissing beside that I've never met in my life? I need a wiener wall, you know what I mean? I got another fella's pecker out 8 inches from my right thigh. His urine is sprinkling on my pantaloons. I'm not trying to wash them every time I wear them, okay? It's not a homophobia thing, it's a laundry thing. I need a wiener wall, it's ridiculous. That's a wall every American can get behind, okay? It's divisive in a good way. Build the wall, build the wall. I am taking donations for the wiener wall after the show, okay? I will be keeping the money and not building anything. That's what happened. Hashtag Steve Bannon. Hashtag prison. People just being mean to people just because they're different, you know? It's like, just let people be who they are, you know? Now look here, hold on. I get it that gay people will try and get you to be gay. I understand. I had a fella did it to me. He come right up to me, he was like, hey man, you gay? I was like, what? No. I don't think so. He was like, are you sure? I was like, I'm pretty sure. He's like, well, how do you know? I was like, well, I ain't never want to like do nothing with another dude or nothing like that. He's like, well, did you ever try? And I was like, well, no. And he goes, then how do you know? I was like, shit, that's a good point. And so, look here, so I tried it, and I tell you what, it was saltier than I thought it was gonna be. And it reminded me of boiled peanuts, and boiled peanuts remind me of gas stations remind me of road trips, and I love to travel, you know what I mean? I think that's what happens. They find out what you like, and they just get you in. They just pull you. So now I'm gay, and it was like a vampire bite, man. I just switched, you know, just trying to do something nice for somebody, turn myself gay. It was like that ice bucket challenge with just wieners, and it was nuts. It was really salty. I don't really talk like that. I'm just messing with you. I hope there's a few people in here that are like, what the fuck is happening right now? Is he really a gay redneck preacher? What's going on? Oh, we gotta have a boogeyman in this country. Who's the bad guy? Who can we get away with being mean to, you know? Right now it's trans people. They're so scary. There's like 100 of them, you know? It's like 300 million people in the United States, 100 of them are trans. We hide the kids. They got books, they're reading, you know. I don't know if they're more scared of Drag Queen Story Hour because of the drag queens or the books, you know. Like, it's one thing that they're in drag, but they are reading books out there. You ever notice how the most anti-trans people, some like old conservative dude with titties? It's like, hey dog, maybe you ought to jog off that B cup before you all talk about everybody's gender. Check yourself before you rickety wreck yourself. It's not, they're not the only anti-trans people. Sometimes it's old couples too. Old couples with the same exact short white haircut. He can no longer grow whiskers because his hormones have changed. She can't stop growing whiskers because her hormones have changed. They both got saggy boobies, and they're wearing matching outfits. It's like, hey, guys, you're gender fluid at best, okay? All right. You're at least non-binary, Meemaw. Sit down, relax. It's gonna be fine. So scary, it's way scarier than mass shootings or climate change. It's terrifying. I think it's really interesting to me that the most anti-gay group out there is called the Proud Boys. I hope there's none here, but I don't want to see their boobs shake while they run at me down the aisle. The Proud Boys. We gotta stop the gays. Like, dude, your group name is the gayest shit I've ever heard in my life. Proud Boys? I immediately picture a twink twerking in a rainbow onesie on a pride float. That's the first thing I think of. Tassels, maybe a dick out. I don't know. It's a very gay name, is all I'm saying. Proud Boys is the gayest group name I've ever heard. Only thing gayer would be like dudesfuckingotherdudes.com. You know what I mean? Like, I have really bad news, Proud Boys. What a dumb name. That's what I would call them if I didn't know their name and I was mocking them to their face. I'd be like, oh, look at these boys. Look how proud these boys are. You boys gonna go overthrow the government with those nunchucks you got from the flea market with your pawpaw. Aww. You boys are gonna need some Capri Suns. You're gonna be thirsty from all that fucking treason. Whose mommy bought the orange slices? Look, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, can we at least agree we need better names for the hate groups? It's like, let's put some thought into this, guys. Oath Keepers? First time I heard that, I was like, oh shit, I was in that in junior high youth group, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's where you promise not to have sex until you get married, right? No wonder why they're all angry and like storming the Capitol. They're all virgins, they're all pissed off and frustrated. It's hard to be a fucking incel with no friends, you know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta dress up and play war. The leader of the Oath Keepers, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, he's going to prison, which is a good place for that guy. He's super alpha. You've probably seen him. He's very alpha. His name is Stuart. And look, I like the name Stuart. One of my favorite comedians is named Stuart Huff. Wonderful human being. I like the name Stuart. Think it's a great name. But I'm not going around being like, I'm a bald eagle monster truck machine gun muscle man alpha male. What's your name? Stuart. I heard he was going to jail. I was like, I gotta Google him. I gotta see this fella. I Googled him, and you should too. Because he's got an eye patch. And then I was like, wonder how he lost that eye. So I Googled that. I was like, he's fucking alpha. Probably lost it in battle. He shot himself in the face. Oh my God, he shot his fucking eye out, and then 2 million rednecks are like, that's who wanted to lead me into the battle right there. Ralphie from the Christmas Story. It's crazy. What a crazy place to be a white supremacist. In the United States of America, the most ethnically and culturally diverse society in human history. And these dudes are on the news like, this is a white country. Like, no, it's not, dog. Turns out every large city in the United States has a China inside of it. You should probably leave your road. Put a little extra gas in your four-wheeler, go to another road, have a look around. Make yourself at home, you know? I've seen this country. I've driven almost 800,000 miles touring this country, performing stand-up comedy. I've performed in almost every large city in the United States. I don't want some dipshit who never left his town telling me what America is. I've fucking seen what America is. And the best thing about this country... The best thing about this country is our diversity, not the other way around, okay? We're the melting pot. It's our whole thing. If you Google us, it's on our Wikipedia page. It's in the top 5 things, like bald eagle, titties, you know, baseball, Budweiser, melting pot. Maybe not Budweiser anymore, but you know what I'm saying. When you're too much of a redneck for Budweiser, I can't drink Bud Light no more. Tastes like dicks now. How do you know? What a frustrating place to be a white supremacist. Can you imagine going to literally any city in the United States, walking around being like, look at all these people different than me having a good time. This is bullshit. It's like, hey, racist, if you're gonna be mean to a group of people, can you not fuck with the ones that give me free chips and salsa? Have you had a chimichanga, you dumb bastard? I'm tired of them coming over here with all their hard work and delicious food. It's like, people are like, well, what about the drugs? What about the violence? I'm like, yeah, we shouldn't have bought those drugs or gave them those guns. We're the ones buying the drugs, and guns are illegal in Mexico. I know, because I've been. It's crazy. I went to Mexico. I lived in my van down there for 3 months. I surfed every wave on the Baja Peninsula. And I told even my coolest friends, when I told them, I was like, I'm going to Mexico. And they were like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm positive. They're like, but are you sure? I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, what about the cartels? And I was like, I wasn't gonna hang out with them, dog. I'm not going to fucking Juarez, dog. I'm going to Cabo. I'm gonna surf. And the whole drive down there is like donkeys and people waving hello. It's very nice. I'm gonna eat tacos and surf and drink margaritas. It's wild, man. I think one of the ways that we can defeat racism is we gotta get white supremacists to eat better food, you know? Like, hey, you might be a racist too if all you ever ate was chicken tenders and Mountain Dew, you know? It gets old chewing on cigarette butts all the time. Right? Give a white supremacist some chicken tikka masala. Watch his whole shit turn around. Be like, JP, have you had tikka masala? Holy shit, bro. I like Indian people now. Golly. I thought I was racist. Turns out I was just hungry. They just elected a new Speaker of the House. His name's Mike Johnson. I call him Little Johnson. You might have heard a little thing about him. Him and his son share a porn tracker on their phones. They're each other's accountability partners. I think it's really sweet that he wants his teenage son to keep him from watching gay porn. Because that's what Mike, right? Anybody that's like, we're gonna stop the gays. I got a gay conversion counseling service. I passed gay legislation. It's like, oh, so you're gay is what you're saying. Right? It's crazy, man. It's good to be here. I brought my own margarita. I brought my own stool. A stool. Comedy is really 99% about the stool, you know? And so is Mike Johnson. But listen. He's gay, but listen. And I support his right to be gay. I just wish he'd quit being mean to people who are brave enough to be themselves. Yeah. We need to get racists to eat better food. I think that's one of the best things in the United States is all the great food and the cultures from which the food comes, you know? It's one of my favorite things to do as I travel is eat foods from different ethnicities. I love it. I like to think I'm relatively worldly. I've been around the whole United States, several other countries, done a lot of traveling, a lot of cities, a lot of different foods. But I'm still a little bit of a redneck. I'm gonna ask for ranch dressing, you know? Don't make it weird. Why does it have to be so awkward? I was at an Indian restaurant the other day. I was like, excuse me, brother, can I get some ranch? He's like, we don't have ranch. I was like, okay, what was the white stuff I was just dipping my garlic naan in? He's like, it's raita. It's a yogurt-based cucumber, cilantro, carrot, pepper. I was like, oh, okay, it's Indian ranch. Why don't you go ahead and bring it out? Why don't you put it in a pint glass, because I was going to drink it, okay? I don't know why this has to be such a weird exchange. You think about it, every culture has ranch, all of them. They just call it something different, and I don't really care what you call it, but I need two sides. Greek restaurant, tzatziki sauce. That's Greek ranch, okay? I need it for my fries. Japanese restaurant, shrimp sauce, yum yum sauce, white sauce. I don't give a shit what you call it. I call it Japanese ranch. Pour it in my onion volcano. Let's get this party started. And flip me another shrimp. I'm gonna catch it this time. I think hibachi chef would be like the funnest job. Like if comedy doesn't work out for me, I'm gonna be a hibachi chef, for sure. You know those dudes just go home at night, they're like, honey, you would not believe this one dumb son of a bitch. I hit him in the face with 28 pieces of shrimp. He didn't catch a single one of them. And then I peed all over his face with the little boy toy with the sake coming out of the wiener hole. Oh, good times. Asked me for ranch twice. I have common sense solutions to fight racism. Get them to eat better food, maybe get them to say shit right, you know? I think we need to beef up our foreign language programs in the schools, right? Now hold on. I'm not talking about anything crazy like paying teachers more, okay? I'm not a communist. 29.5's plenty to live off of. I'm not talking about funding schools or buying more books. I know those are bad. I'm saying you keep everything just the way it is, but you just focus on a little more common sense stuff. Hey, maybe that third grader doesn't need to know all the days of the week. Teach him the menu, you know? It's hard to be a racist when you're saying shit right. Nobody's ever been like, dude, I'm gonna go to a Klan meeting as soon as I finish this quesadilla. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do it. Not once has anybody ever gone, I wish all these fucking Latinos would get out of Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like you can't, it's damn near impossible. I think if you are a white supremacist, you should have to put that shit on your driver's license. Right? If you're proud, put it on there. Hope a white cop pulls you over. My, how the tables have turned all of a sudden. Height, weight, eye color, hair color, organ donor, yes or no? Racist, yes or no? In case you need an organ, we don't want you to get the wrong one. That'd be a real mess, wouldn't it? Can you imagine the surgeon comes in, he's like, oh, looks like I got a heart for Mr. Williams. I am so sorry, Mr. Williams. I did not see that you're a racist. Oh, man. You wouldn't want this one. It's so different. You just hang in there. Hang in there. I tell you what, just keep doing this. Just keep doing this. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Thoughts and prayers. I heard those work. I think, like I said, I think when you're like that against something, you're like that thing, you know? Like, I know we're not always gonna agree, and I'm enough of an adult to know there's always gonna be racism, there's always gonna be homophobia. I totally get that. But like, for example, if you don't like gay marriage, don't get married to a gay person, you know? Easiest way to knock that out, I think. I just can't get over the person who's like, I just can't stop thinking about what gay people are doing behind closed doors. Well, that means you're gay. Turns out that's the second gayest shit you can do. Now I'll let you guess what number one is. Mike Johnson. He's gay. I'm just saying, listen. If I saw a picture of Mike Johnson on somebody's mantle, I'd be like, oh, that's cool, you have a gay uncle. What's his name? Because this picture is like, right? Have you seen his skin? He's got amazing skin. I'm like, what's this guy moisturized with? Vitamin E, aloe, other dudes' jizz? I just think that he's, I'll protest too much. That's all I'm saying. Some of y'all might think I'm being mean to him, but he wants to put women in jail who get an abortion. He wants to put abortion providers in jail, and he also wants to be able to put people in jail for being gay. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is, at least the only Republicans that voted for him are every single one. I don't have a joke for that. That is the joke. Yeah, it's terrifying, man. It's terrifying. His wife owns a gay conversion company, counseling. They try to pray the gay away, get the kids to, to not be gay anymore. You just got to make them forget all the books they read. That's where it starts. I want to be clear that there is a message tonight, and it's that Mike Johnson is gay. But listen. There's other stuff. I tell you what I've learned. You cannot always outsmart somebody. You can't. You can't win a rational argument with somebody that doesn't care about logic. You can't. You can't. You can't have a really intellectual conversation where you walk away feeling good about it with somebody that thinks Donald Trump is a Christian. Oh, well, you're a silly goose. If you can't outsmart them, what do you got to do? You got to outdumb them. Try it. Fucking works. When they say some dumb shit, be like, what's the dumbest thing I could say right now? And watch their brain explode, I was getting tires put on my monster truck the other day. Because I'm an alpha male, and this guy sat down beside me in the waiting room, and Fox News was on the TV. They were being all fair and balanced, and this dude sat down right beside me. No, they were talking about abortion on Fox News. This dude sits right beside me in the waiting room, because he looks at me and he's like, you're on my team? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And I have earphones on, I'm wearing earphones. It's the international symbol for don't fucking talk to me. Right? And I'm drinking energy drinks, listening to true crime, trying to figure out why I'm in a grumpy mood, I'm like, maybe it's the stimulants and the murder. Who knows? And he nudges me and he goes, abortion's a real shame, ain't it? And I just went. And in my mind, I was like, you gotta outdumb him. So I put my voice on. I looked him in the eye and said, hell yeah, buddy, it sure is. That's why I like gay people so much. And he looked at me like I was there, and there. He was so confused. And he goes, what? I was like, bro, gay people get less abortions than any other group of people, dude. If you're pro-life, you pretty much got to be pro-gay as well. It's like a catch-26, He was like, I'll be right back. I got to make a phone call. The gay thing, it's a particularly exposed nerve for me. first of all, let me say I was raised by amazing human beings that I love very much, who are wonderful people. Who I'm eternally grateful for. But I was raised very, very conservative, very, very religious, you know? And my sister is gay. And so she came out to me when I was 15 years old. And when I say that she came out to me, that's really an exaggeration. I got really drunk for the first time, and I coaxed it out of her. I got drunk with my buddy Mike, who's still one of my closest, dearest friends. He's a physician now. He lives in this like 3-story townhome with a rooftop deck and a gas fireplace. He's in Denver, and I live in that van outside. So we're both doing really good. We're about the same, and so. It was the first time I got really drunk. And listen, I want to be clear about something. I had drank before, okay? I had some warm Zimas in the forest while looking at a penthouse that I found behind a shopping center that some dude probably wanked to in his car, you know? But I had never been forget who you are drunk, you know what I'm saying? And we did it, buddy. We went for it. We got some gin from his parents' basement, and we mixed it with cherry 7-Up. And we just got Waffle House drunk, you know what I'm saying? Just scattered, smothered, and shit-faced. It was a lot. And I don't know, Mike's a little bit smaller than me, or maybe he drank more, or maybe I ate more food that day. He wasn't doing as good as I was doing, you know? I was having a blast. Mike was kind of struggling to stay alive. And I don't know if you've ever seen a zombie movie or a zombie show, but the zombies, they drag one foot and they have an arm out in front of them and they go, "Aah." Well, he was doing that, and because he was dying from alcohol poisoning. And so, this is Saturday night, I'm 15 years old, I got a 10 o'clock curfew, I gotta go to church tomorrow, probably 2 of them, you know? And it was like real close to 10, and I was panicking. And I was like, "Come on, buddy, we're almost there." And we were like a mile and a half away. And I'm like, "Come on, dude, come on, we got this." And he's like, "Nah." We finally got to the front door of my parents' house, and I had to pin Mike up against the front porch wall with my hand on his sternum, because if I would have moved it, he would no longer be with us, I don't think. He would have fallen and everything would have broken. So I had my hand on his sternum. With my other hand, I opened the door, I looked into the house, and I was like, "Coast is clear." And I threw him on my shoulder like a rescue carry, and I'm running up the stairs like I'm Forrest Gump and he's Lieutenant Dan, you know what I mean? But he was heavier because he had legs, and so I was like running down and that's not an ableist joke, because that's an actor. His name's Gary Sinise. He's fine. His legs are fine. He lives in a castle. So I get to the end of the room, and I throw him down on my Mario Brothers beanbag chair. And I put a towel over him because I didn't want him to throw up and fuck up my Mario Brothers beanbag chair. You know what I'm saying? Super cool chair. Still got it. And it's in my van. And so I was like, "Hey, bro, are you good? Everything good? Do you feel okay?" And he was like, what did he say? He was like, he goes, "Nah." And I was like, "All right, I'll be right back. Don't throw up, you know?" And so I go into the bathroom. I'm like, I gotta go talk to my parents, right? So I go to the bathroom, and I'm like splashing water on my face. And I'm like, "They're not gonna know. I'm fine. They're not gonna know. I don't even know, you know?" I brushed my teeth twice. I was putting in eye drops and shit. I sprayed cologne all over myself, and this was 1995, so it was probably like Joop or some shit. Cool water, you know? Some of y'all just got really nostalgic. Some of y'all are like, "Ooh, Joop." I have good news for you. If you like Joop, you can get a gallon of that at Ross Dress for Less for $8. You can smell like 90.95 for the rest of your life. But I got tight. I was like, "I'm good. I smell good. My eyes are good. Brush my teeth twice. Wash my face. I'm good. I'm just gonna go in there. I'm gonna keep it tight. I'm gonna keep it simple, silky smooth, smooth as ice." And I just walked up to the living room, and I went in there so smooth. I was just like, "Hey, Mom and Dad, you guys watching TV? I also like TV sometimes, probably not tonight. I'll just see you tomorrow. I can't wait to go to church." And I was like, I think that went really well, really. I felt totally fine about it. And you won't believe this, but about 7 seconds later, when I got into my bedroom, my mom was knocking on the door. And I was like, oh, shit. So I cracked the door, and I'm trying not to look at her or breathe on her. You know? I knew if either of those things happened, I was done. And I was like, hey, Mom, everything's fine in here, just normal and stuff. Can't wait to go to church tomorrow. Mike's just very sleepy. Long day. A lot of studying. And she goes, your sister's on the phone. And I didn't know it, but they had been talking to my sister in the living room when I went in there, and I didn't notice because I was hammered. And so I was like, okay, I'll just talk to you later. So I grabbed the phone, and I go, Jada. And so I should back up. My sister's 11 years older than me because my parents are pro-life. And so thank goodness, I guess, you know. It's good that there's some of you. I was a surprise. And... mistake. And so she hands me the phone, and I go, Jada, hey. And she goes, Mom and Dad think you're on drugs. And I was like, well, I'm not yet, you know. This time next year for sure. I was like, no, I'm just hammered. And I like can't stop laughing, you know what I mean? I'm just like giggly. You know the first few times you get drunk and it's just euphoric and you're like warm and fuzzy and giggly and you feel so great and you want to tell everybody you love them and it's just the best feeling in the world and you spend the next 30 years trying to recreate it and you can't. Now you're just drunk in a theater on a Thursday. I know you guys. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh. I was like, I'm just drunk. She was like, yeah, that's what I figured. I told her that you're just being silly because you're with Mike, and you guys are always silly when you're together. And I was like, well, that's true. She's like, I think they believe me. And I was like, well, thank you so much, you know. She saved my ass. She has many times after that. And I was just feeling, I was like feeling so, my boundaries were, my walls were down, my ego was, you know, I was just like, I was just so vulnerable and authentic, you know? And I'm trying to use all the white lady words, and I was gonna share my heart space, you know? And I thought perhaps she would open her space, hold space for my space. Subway Town, mid-century modern, come on, succulents, dream catchers. Monstera, come on. Shiplap, come on, listen, pay attention. He said my words. How'd you like the show? It was okay, he said my words. But I was like, I'm going for it. Now's the time. Because me and my brother had been talking about that we thought that she might be gay because she had a Subaru. And so, it's not the whole thing, okay? It's not all of it. It's a big part of it. But so I was like, I'm just gonna go for it, you know? And I just started, I was like, I just want you to know I love you, like, no matter what. And she was like, well, I love you no matter what. And I was like, yeah, well, I love you, like, no matter what. She was like, I love you no matter what. I was like, no matter what. I love you no matter what, you know? And after I said it about 80 times, probably around 80, she was like, are we talking about the same thing? And I was like, yeah, Subaru. And she started crying. I started crying. Mike started crying because he was just drunk. And she said, it feels so good for somebody in the family to know. Because nobody knew. You know, nobody in our immediate family, not even any of her closest friends that she grew up with, because they were all part of that same belief system, you know? And they weren't bad people either. They were people of faith who had their faith weaponized against them into bigotry. And it's more the fault of the people that did it to them than it is to them, you know? And it's still happening worse than it ever has. She said it feels so good for somebody to know, even if it is a hammered 15-year-old, you know? And she said, what do you think Wiley's gonna think? That's her other sibling, Wiley. And she said, what do you think Wiley's gonna think? I was like, hey, he knows. We've been talking about it for like a year. And we saw your car, and and my brother and my sister and myself, we kept that secret for 9 more years. And, you know, I thought we would always keep it a secret. I don't think it ever occurred to me that we wouldn't. And that would have been my vote, to be honest. If, you know, maybe I'm a coward. But I knew that my family would change. And it did, you know? And my parents did not disown her. They did not. I want to be really clear about that. They said, we love you, but this is hard and impossible for us, and we're brokenhearted. And, you know, they did their best in it, but it broke my sister's heart. And it broke mine and my brother's heart, too, because we knew that if it was us, it would be the same way, and that hurt, you know? And, but I was over at her house. We were both living in Asheville, where the gay started, and and she called me over, and she handed me this 2-page letter, and she said, I'm gonna send that to Mom tomorrow. And I begged her not to, because I'm not as brave as she is, you know? And I'm not as strong as she is. And I knew that my family was gonna change, and I didn't want it to. And it was the hardest thing, in obviously in her life, and in mine too. But I tell you this, years later, a lot of things happened between these 2 points in time, but years later, my father got brain cancer. We thought it was Alzheimer's or dementia. We weren't sure. We found out way too late that it was a brain tumor. They told us he had 3 to 6 months. He was gone in 15 days. And my sister dropped everything. Her family, her job, her kid, her own health problems. And she came from 6 hours away. And she sat with this dying man all day, every day, until his last day. And she wet his lips, and she wiped him. And she gave him his medicine. And she showed him unconditional love. And that's the most Christ-like thing I've ever seen anybody do in my life. And that's why it's such a bummer that she's going to hell. You know what I mean? I feel like even the devil would be down there like, God, are you sure? She's so nice. The sister, the Subaru, coexist. And it makes you understand. It makes you understand why Mike Johnson doesn't want to admit that he's gay. It was the hardest, losing my dad was a hard event in a series of hard events. I had a relatively easy life up until 2016, 2017. And I don't remember who said it, I probably ought to learn, but someone once said, an easy life does not make for a strong character. And I'll tell you, the hard stuff I went through made me better. It didn't make me perfect, but it made me better. And keep that in mind, if you're going through something hard, it's probably gonna make you better if you let it, you know? And yeah. In 2016, 2017, I lost my business, my home, my dog, my dad, and my wife in 16 months. My wife didn't die, she's still alive. Her soul is dead, but she's fine. She's still moving around without the soul. It's creepy as shit. I don't even know how she does it. She's walking, talking, the whole deal. It's like when you cut the head off a snake, like, you're still moving, fucking hit it again. To be clear, she cheated on me. In Canada. And the United States. And Mexico. So Sounds like a joke, and it is, but it's also true. But I'm a comedian. I gotta find the upside. I gotta find the joke. And Canada, United States, Mexico, that's come. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's kind of funny. As an acronym. Finally, after she got narked on, somebody snitched, you know? And she had to tell me something. She was like, okay, I met a guy in Mexico, and then I flew to Montreal, and it was like, she's telling me all this, and I'm like furious, because we didn't have money for all that travel. You know what I mean? Like, you could have fucked one of my friends that we both know and trust. You could have slept with one of our neighbors for free. Sure, George is a little older, but he's a hell of a nice guy. Got a new 4Runner. It's crazy to me. And I knew our marriage wasn't perfect. It was far from perfect. I was acutely aware of that. But I didn't think she would cheat, you know, because we did one of those weddings where you do the vows. And I thought we were for real. I didn't know it was a goof. And it turns out there's a part of her vow. She's like, if you don't make a lot of money, I'll fuck a Canadian. And I didn't even hear that part. I missed that altogether. It was brutal, man. And I look back now and I'm like, there were signs. Now I think about it, there were signs and I just missed them, you know? Like she would always be like, cheat day. And I thought that was the day I was allowed to eat carbohydrates, you know? And turns out it was the day she was gonna fly to Montreal and bang that dude she met in Tulum. And I just totally did not catch it at all. She'd be like, cheat day. I'd be like, pizza. And she'd be like, sausage. And that's my Mike Johnson impersonation. Shamefully getting a facial from 2 DC interns. In a Christ-like way. Come on, let's relax. It was hard, but I do want there to be a message to my comedy, and here's one of them. No matter what you're going through, no matter how impossible it feels, there is hidden inside of that thing the seed of something beautiful if you look for it, if you're diligent about finding what that is. There is a silver lining, there is an upside, there is a lesson, you know? There's always some kind of fruit from it if you look for it and you wait for it. So hang in there, you know? And I tell you, for me, really, the ultimate thing that came out of my wife banging these other dudes is I now have this partner who is just the most kind and loving woman I've ever met in my life. And she's a little younger than me. I didn't do that on purpose. It just kind of happened. We were on Bumble. She had to message me first. It was really her deal. She was like, let me see that dick. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. I'm kidding. She was like, what's up? I was like, what's up, shawty? Wonderful, wonderful woman. She's younger than me. It's not really that big of a deal. It's a 12-year age difference. It's not huge, but it's a little bit weird because like her mom had her when she was like pretty young, and her mom she's a beautiful woman. She looks much younger than she is. And so she's not that much older than me, this is cool. We get along well. We're friends. Like she's awesome. But it's not a huge age difference. Well, she's divorced and remarried, and she married a much younger guy, you know, and like I knew he was younger than her, but I didn't really know how young he was until I tried to log into his HBO Max account and. Like we were watching movies one night, and my girl was in the kitchen. I was like, hey, babe, remind me your stepdad's login for HBO Max. And she was like, blah, 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 1983. I was like, that's not his birth year, is it? She looked out of the kitchen like this. I was like, is your stepdad younger than me? And she clearly had already figured it out. She was like, everybody's fine with it, nobody cares. We all talked about it, nobody cares. Everybody's fine. I was like, you didn't tell me! Nobody should care, except for me! I've been calling him sir. I was wondering why I kept saying it back. It's great though. I'm fine. I love him. He's a great kid. He really is. I mean, seriously, a really great young man. He really is. But she's got two boys, seven years old and 5 years old, cutest kids you've ever seen in your life. I mean, they're so incredibly handsome that it's ridiculous. It's hard to discipline them because they're so cute. I get mad at them and they laugh at me and I'm like, ah, it is funny. The other day, the 5-year-old, he's running down the hallway in just his tighty whities. He's running with something in his hand. And my mind is like, oh shit, why's he got it closed up in his hand like that? It's an insect. I didn't know what it was. And he goes into the bathroom. He's heading to the toilet. And I was like, whoa, what do you got there? And he goes, poop. And I was like, okay, carry on. You are totally making the right move there, boss. Don't let me throw a wrench in your system. I think you get this figured out all the way. Of course, I don't know where the turd came from. You probably should have put it straight from the butthole into the toilet. You should have skipped the hand part. You shouldn't carry turds. That's not a good place to. I was supposed to touch it with your hand. But the toilet is the perfect place for it. I lost my ass flipping houses, and you're like, what? How'd you do that in 2016? I didn't. I lost my ass in 2008. But to properly lose your ass takes years. If you ever lost your ass, you don't just have it on Tuesday and lose it on Wednesday. It takes years of just getting kicked in the nuts every day to fully perfect losing your ass. And I did. And people were like, did you declare bankruptcy? I'm like, no, I did not have enough money to declare bankruptcy. I went to a bankruptcy attorney. They're like, well, it's about $3,500 to get started. And I was like, I would have to borrow the money to fucking declare bankruptcy. I guess I'll just ride it out, dog, But it was tough. If you've ever lost a lot financially, I had 6 rental houses by the time I was 26. Busted my ass to get there. By the time I was 36, I was living in a station wagon, touring all over this country doing this. And you know what? I'm glad I failed. And I'm glad my wife cheated. And I'm glad I lost my ass. And it's crazy to say, but I am. Because sometimes something gets out of your life to make room for something better, I've been living in vehicles since 2016. 7 years. I've been, went from a station wagon, now I got a van. It's pretty baller. I can stand up in it. I'm like, I'm fucking rich now. I lost my ass, and it sucked, but I tell you what, it taught me what I'm made of. I realized I'm not beige house, silver car, and neither are you. You're not your job, you're not your title, you're not even your party or your team. You're not. You're a being of just infinite potential and love and light. I smoke a lot of weed, but so what I'm saying. But I had to learn the difference between losing and letting go. I had to learn that, And there is a difference because losing is hanging on and mourning every single thing that falls away like it's a tiny death of some part of you, and it's not. And then losing, this switch flips, and you start just letting it go. And I had to learn that. I mean, like, they physically took all my shit. But once, I didn't have a choice. Existentially, I got it. But then I lost my house, my business, my house, my dog, my dad, my marriage. And losing my dad, I talk about my parents, and again, I want to reiterate, I love my parents. They're amazing human beings. My dad was one of my favorite people in the world, one of the only people I really looked up to, And I called him the redneck Buddha. Because, dude, he could Bondo a Rolls Royce. I mean, it was crazy. He could fix anything with, like, duct tape and a hammer, WD-40. He was the coolest dude. He never complained. He never talked bad about anybody. He never wanted anything that he didn't have. He was content with his life, you know? He never bought stuff. He didn't give a shit at all about material stuff. He always drove the shittiest car in the family so somebody else could drive a little bit nicer car, you know? And losing him was ground shaking. I mean, it was a really difficult thing. And, you know, he never complained. The only thing my dad would ever complain about is every once in a while, when me and my brother and my sister were all home, chilling in the living room or whatever, he would lean in, and he would look at us, and he would smile, and he would look around and make sure my mom couldn't hear him, and he would go, "Y'all think we got enough knickknacks in here?" Because my mom's a 70-something-year-old white lady that lives at the beach, and buddy, she loves knickknacks, okay? And I want to be very clear about something. It's not a hoarder situation. It's very clean. It's vacuumed and dusted, but it's a lot of shit. You know, it's just like a lighthouse and a conch shell by a starfish and a sand dollar and a flip-flop coaster. You know, it's a lot of live, laugh, love. Dance like nobody's watching. It's a lot. It's a bird bath with a Bible verse on it, made out of seashells. Also a bird house. There's a fountain. It's a lot. And I think my dad kind of looked around the house and he's like, "Why are we decorating the table? The table is a dolphin. Why are you decorating a decoration?" Like, if you want to put your sailboat coffee cup down on a flip-flop cup coaster, you're going to have to move the southern living over by the coastal living. You kind of push that over by the seashell-encrusted playing card holder. And then there's a fake swan with some fake flowers in it. You need to look out for that. Then set it down, you know? And I feel like my dad just kind of looked around the house from his recliner, and he was just like, $60, $120, $40, $480. He was like, "There's $250,000 worth of bullshit in this house that's worth maybe $17 to another old white lady at a yard sale when the shit hits the fan," you know what I mean? Then when he passed away, I told you it happened quick, and we were all just, it was a lot. We were all like lost. And my mom said, "You know, I just didn't really have a plan. I'm going to get him cremated, and we'll figure it out. And then, you know, when I go, you cremate me, and we'll be together." And we were like, "We support you. Whatever you need, we support you." And so we got him cremated, and she said, "You know, I want to get him a really beautiful urn." And I said, "Well, you know, he was a simple guy, you know. He would have wanted you to get him a simple urn, like just a little cedar box, you know what I mean? He wasn't materialistic, you know. He never wanted stuff like that. He would have wanted you to get him a cedar box and you save the rest of the money for something important like a lighthouse or a conch shell." And she was like, "No, I want to get him a beautiful urn. It's important to me." We said, "Hey, we got your back." And she did. We got her the most beautiful urn. I mean, it is so beautiful. It's very nautical, very coastal, and it's half beigey taupe and half blue-green, you know, beigey taupe like the beach, blue-green like the ocean. And there's these little tiny baby sea turtles. It's clay. It's a ceramics piece by a local potter. Little baby sea turtles going to the ocean where only 10% of them will survive. It's about the size of a basketball, and it's round, but they still manage to rough up the edges like white ladies like, you know? What's that called? You know how a white lady will take like a perfectly good piece of furniture and paint it robin's egg blue and then beat it with a chain and throw it down the stairs? What's it called? Distressing. Yeah, that's a perfect fucking word for that, isn't it? That is distressing. They're always like, "How do you think this dresser looks?" I'm like, "Oh my God, Kelly, that looks so good. It looks way better than when it was solid mahogany. Love that chalky yellow." But the urn is distressed. It's got sea turtles. It's got the beach. It's coastal. On the top, it's got a little piece of driftwood, and it's tied on with a little burlappy rope, you know? We've got it sitting on this table behind a recliner, and then there's a conch shell right there, and there's this sailboat figurine thing here, and there's this metal lighthouse hanging art thing on the wall behind it, and then under there, there's some coastal living magazines. What I'm telling you is my dad became a knick-knack, and listen. Circle of life is what I'm trying to say. Careful what you resist. But it was tough, man. It was tough. All of that. It was roughly 16 months of just boom, 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 boom. And you either got to bend or break, you know? And people say you got to do the work. That's what they call it, you know? You got to do the work. And I did, buddy. I really tried my hardest to do the work. I meditated like twice, you know what I mean? Like, and I developed this spiritual mantra, okay? And I want to share it with you. And I'm paraphrasing. I certainly didn't make this up. I'm paraphrasing probably every spiritual teacher in history that we've contorted and distorted. But here's the thing. In this moment right now, in this theater, everything we're doing here, this is where joy is, this is where laughter is, this is where love is. Now is all we got. And right now, nothing's wrong. Right now, in this moment. And there's only a few ways to experience now. I know this isn't funny. Hang in there, okay? It's gonna get funny in a second. Some of you are like, this is sad. I like to bring the energy way down at the end of the show. And I still go for the standing ovation. It's ambitious, I get it, you know. It's like showing up for a first date with shit in your pants and still trying to hook up. It's like, hey, I'm really sorry about pooping. You want to make out or anything? No? Okay. Nice to meet you. Now is all there is. And here are the ways that you can experience now. Joy. I'm joyful that you guys came here. But if there was like 43 of you speckled about, I would not be joyful. But I would accept it. That's the next thing. If you can't find joy in it, can you at least accept it? And if you can't accept it, the next state is change. Can you change it? If you can't accept it, can you change it? Because the next state is suffering. And you suffer until or unless you can change or accept what is, right? And I just take that with you, okay? I know it's not funny, but take it with you. And I can get there. I can get there some days. Some days for days at a time. Some days all day. Some days just a couple times. But I can get there where I'm just in it. And I'm not worried about the future or the past. It's partly because I live in a van. But you know what I mean? Like it's just... It's easy when you're eating mushrooms by a waterfall. But you know, it's like... Some of you are still blown away that I have a haircut and a suit. Like, is that him? I don't think it's him. I haven't worn a suit since I married that girl that banged those dudes. But I can get there and I can stay in it. And it's hard to shake me. I like to think like I'm spiritually unfuckwithable these days. And it's like, that's powerful, man. But there are some things that rattle my cage, Mike Johnson, you know? And the thing that really gets me is really loud pickup trucks. I'm not sure why. The other day I was leaving my mom's house to go and perform for some other people for tons of money. And that was a joke. And you're like, you're poor. I was leaving my mom's house, and I want to be clear, I don't live with my mom, but I do stay with her for extended periods of time in between touring. And all my stuff's there. And I don't have a place. But so, I was leaving, I was going up this road called 211. It's a very rural place, you know? Nowhere to turn around, nowhere to go, 2-lane road through the swamp. The coast is beautiful. There's like a barbecue place and a seafood place and a pier, but everything in from the coast is scary as shit for about 100 miles. I mean, this is the kind of road where you see a sign that's like, need dirt. And you go like another 10 miles, and another sign's like, got dirt! I need to connect these two dudes. Like, this is country networking. I'm going up this road. I'm in my zen, man. I'm in my zen. I'm in it. I'm present. I'm feeling wonderful. I'm joyful. I'm in my joy. I'm in the present moment. I'm in the now. I'm listening to a meditation app through my stereo. I may or may not have been smoking a little bit of the devil's lettuce. You know what I mean? I'm a little stony baloney. And it's one of those amazing days where the clouds are doing, and the clouds, and you're like, look at that cloud. That's a gosh darn labradoodle right there. You know, puffy clouds, stuff in them, stuff in the clouds. And the wind was blowing. The wind wasn't blowing enough to move the tree. It was just blowing enough to move the leaves. And the leaves were doing my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing. They go. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Y'all do drugs? And so, and I'm like, God, I love it when the leaves do that. I love the clouds. I was like, oh, I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful to go make people laugh for money. It makes me feel better to make you feel better. It's like, I feed off of it. I live for it. And I'm like, man, I got a full tank and an empty road. This is as good as it gets, you know? And all of a sudden, here comes this loudest fucking truck I've ever heard in my life. And it comes around me and it's like, I was like, I'll get fucking wrecked, you know? And I lost my zen for a minute. But it's a long road. It's a long road. And I was behind him for 11 miles. And I was suffering. I was not joyful. And I could not accept it. And right then, I was like, I gotta change this. I had 11 miles to think about it. And y'all might know what I chose as my strategy. If you can't outsmart them, you gotta. I had 11 miles to think about this shit. Here's what I came up with. Finally, we got to the intersection of Highway 211 and Highway 17. He was turning left to go to Myrtle Beach. I was surprised too. I got right beside him at the intersection. I was going straight. I rolled my window down. This really is how it rolls down, because I'm poor. And I put my voice on. I said, hey, buddy. He looked over, he goes, yeah. I go, dude, that's the loudest truck I ever heard in my life. He goes, thanks, man. I said, hell yeah, bro. When you went around me back there, man, I got hard as hell. He goes, what? And he looked like he was about to angry cry. You know what I mean? You don't fight a redneck when they're about to angry cry. There's a lot of energy behind that. You will lose. I go, hell yeah, buddy. Last time you revved it, I came all the way, dog. He goes, what? I was like, ejaculation. And and right then the light turned green and he turned left like this. And as he's turning, I said, what are you doing right now? You want to get a drink or something? And I was back in my joy. And I laughed for about an hour and a half. Because I know that dude is somewhere right now, in a field, by a fire, with other dudes with giant-ass trucks, with ball sacks hanging off the back. 'Cause it's okay to change the gender of a truck, you know. It's like, come on, TJ, you know your truck's burgundy, you know that's a girl truck. But that dude's telling his buddies, he's like, dude, you better make your truck quiet too, bro. I had a dude try to gay fuck me on the highway, man. I spent $3,200 to make my truck a reasonable volume again. Ain't nobody gonna hear me coming. My founding fathers did not come over here with powdery white wigs, pantaloons, and makeup so you could be trans. Take them balls off your truck. I want to tell you guys this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I would not be here if you weren't here. I'd have skipped it. If none of you came, I would have canceled. But you did, and you have. I mean, gosh, so many times. Some of you have seen me 20 times, and you've had my back all this time, and it's been a really, really long road. And I know that there will be many more special nights in my comedy career, but none of them will ever be as special to me as this one. And I love you, and I'm super grateful for you. And I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
It was awesome. That's perfect. Tell me when you're back.
Let time roll by. Just let time roll by.